Welcome to Legal Keys, unlocking time, revenue, and results. The podcast that connects you with the people, technologies, and trending topics shaping the modern legal landscape. From cutting-edge AI innovations to high-growth marketing strategies and everything in between. Legal Keys is your go-to resource for actionable insights. Brought to you by Faster Outcomes and hosted by Tim Sawyer, two-time Inc. 500 co-founder entrepreneur. We're here to help you navigate the tools and trends driving success in today's legal world.
Hello, welcome to Legal Keys, sponsored by Faster Outcomes, the ultimate AI legal intelligence platform for law firms and lawyers of all shapes and sizes, with a focus on personal injury. We can discuss a little bit about that today, family law, and business healthcare. For those of you joining us for the first time, you're in for a treat. For those of you who have been with us for a while, we appreciate the support and encourage you to tune in again and again. And please like and share as always. I cannot wait to introduce our guest today. Many of you, I assure you, the legal world is a lot smaller than people think. You probably know him already. Ben Glass is a nationally recognized personal injury and disability attorney, the founder of Ben Glass Law, and the CEO of Great Legal Marketing. I love that name, and I want to talk about that. A coaching and marketing organization that has helped thousands of lawyers build more profitable and purpose-driven practices. With over 40 years of legal experience, Ben is known not only for his success in the courtroom, but also for empowering solo and small firm attorneys to grow substantially and ethically, hopefully happily too. Outside of the legal world, Ben is dedicated youth soccer referee and volunteer with Love Without Borders, reflecting his deep commitment to service, mentorship, and community impact. And let's start there. First of all, Ben, welcome, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Jim, it's great to be here. It's hot all over the country. And we had a great pre-discussion here before we went live. So I'm happy to dig into it.
I'm excited. And the first thing that sticks out, I spent a lot of time traveling the country, speaking with lawyers. There's this sense that you and I had alluded to this when we started. We see these people, they've got these great big mega firms. You've got people with medium-sized firms, small-sized firms. You're not only helping them grow, but you're helping them, when you say purpose-driven, I assume you're helping them understand why they want to grow, right? Talk a little bit about that and the fact that you still, after 40 years, are still passionate, digging in, and taking the time to do some community work. I think that's pretty cool, my friend.
No, I'm blessed. I'm doing some of the most interesting work in my career in the legal space, and I work with a really great team, and we work for really great clients. And so, you know, from the purpose-driven phrase, here's my philosophy, and every man, and when I use the word man, I mean humans, right? Every man has philosophy, whether you know it or not. But you're on this journey with no control over, Tim, who you were born to, when you were born, into what circumstances you were born. You have some control, we think, about how many years and days we get on this earth based upon our life habits. But we don't really know. We don't really know how much time we have. And I believe that life was meant to be lived in your joy and happiness. And so first, like what is life without being happy? And so what I'm really good at is helping lawyers who have an idea of what happy would be for them, what enriched, fulfilled life would be for them, and helping them, because they're lawyers, create a practice that serves that purpose. Because if you are good, if the lawyer is good, and if the team that comes to work likes coming to work and they're good, then their clients will be well served. Because let's face it, like most lawyers are actually pretty good at the craft of lawyering, right? They just, especially if you've been doing it for a while, you're pretty good at it, right? But unfortunately, Tim, a lot of lawyers are not very happy and not, you know, and some of them are miserable with their practice. Yeah. But if you know that, I can help you figure out what's the next, where do I spend my next dollar, or where do I spend my next hour in recrafting my business to serve my life, which I want to be happy and I want to thrive in that. So that's a big meta philosophical thing.
No,
start there. You got to start there.
You have to start there. And one of the things that I always like to say, people say, Tim, well, what do you do? I said, at the end of the day, you know what I do? I try to give lawyers back more time. And whether that's time to go get more cases to smash their competition, great. Whether that's time to get home a few hours early to help put the kids to bed, that's pretty noble too. And I think sometimes, and the reason I love what you're doing from a purpose-driven standpoint, is sometimes we provide, lawyers are people, right? We provide this universal standard of the perfect, highly functioning machine law firm. And the reality is that's not for everybody, right? Not everybody wants to do that. And I think sometimes we push that standard a lot. I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Well, yeah. So the worst thing you can do is look around what everybody else is doing and say, "Well, I want that too." If you haven't done the mindset work, the philosophical work, and so I think importantly, I think people need to know. Like I've had a mindset philosophical coach for probably 15 years. We have at the law firm at Ben Glass Law, we have business coaches, right? I've had my mindset coach for longer, someone who can like bang me upside the head when I'm get into sort of bad thinking, someone who I can celebrate wins with that, there's things that when you're a lawyer and you're a business owner, Tim, that you just can't go out into the regular neighborhood party and brag about some of the stuff that we're able to accomplish, either individual cases or money or just building a place where people will thrive because they don't understand because most of them aren't, they're working for somebody and that's awesome and that's perfect for them, but they're not building stuff like we build. Um, and so, I forgot exactly what the question is, but it does get back to this. Being able to with clarity define what it is you want to shoot for, and the great thing in legal, as you know, is you just described it. There's so many different flavors.
Yeah.
There's so many different options, and if it's good for you, then it's good for the world. And if you're trying to get into a round peg into a square hole or whatever that is, and that's not you, then that's miserable.
And which brings me my next question, because you just alluded to it, right? So building a law firm intentionally. And I think this applies not just, beat up on lawyers, but whether you're an insurance agent, an accountant, a lot of us at 25 years old, right? We go get our degrees and our in the letters behind our name, and we're not really sure what we want to do, right? We just go do it because your dad did it, your mom did it, and you're supposed to go be a hero. And most of us inherently are wired for growth. Most of us we're inherently wired for, I believe that. So sometimes we go down paths and then we end up at 45 going, how the hell did I get here? Right. And then you're like, this sucks. and now you got a reckoning. And so building a law firm with intentional growth, you've helped thousands of lawyers grow better firms through great legal marketing. What's the biggest mind shift you try to instill in lawyers who want to move from busy to profitable and purpose driven? What's got to happen?
Yeah. So the first thing is you look around what everybody else is doing because they've all been trained by the legal profession and by the law schools whose job it is to put out widgets, right? And you don't do what they're doing. So the biggest shift that has to happen, Tim, is that you have to believe that you have permission. You have the permission to design your own life. Okay. Like nobody makes these rules, the law school tells you how you're supposed to behave and what your path is. The profession tells you, well, we're not supposed to differentiate ourselves and talk about ourselves and make ourselves sound better than the next lawyer, even if we are better than the next lawyer. And so we reject all of that. Obviously, we stay inside all the legal boundaries because we like to keep our licenses, but we reject the thinking that says we're not allowed to go out and, Tim, if you're the perfect client for me, it's my moral obligation to get you to wander into my door and not into a competitor's door down the street who I think is not perfect for you. And so that's the shift that we start, because you can go anywhere and you can learn the finances, you can learn the marketing, you can learn how to be a great cross-examiner. And I've done all of that stuff, right? But it's not very helpful if you don't believe that you have the right to build something that is just awesome for you and your family first. Like that's a big deal. You and your family first, everybody else is second.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it reminds me, so prior to elective medicine, you and I were talking before we hopped on today, I worked in the insurance business. So my customers were insurance agents. And what reminds me of is insurance agents had this, some were really good at what's called cross marketing or bundling all their services. So homeowners, auto, and all the things together. And then other agents were really not good at it. And the question we always asked in training was, and you mentioned belief, is we put a sign up, says that, do you believe that I am the right person for this client, that this agency is the right agency for this client, that they could possibly be worse off if they went somewhere else and didn't put all their policies together here? Do you believe? Because if you believe, it's not a sales issue, it's a belief issue. And I can't believe you just said that, because I haven't thought about that in 10 years.
Yes. And now think, Tim, so we've got maybe 22, 23 people under roof here now, where every single person on our team, whether there are virtual workers and team members in the Philippines or in Texas or right here under roof, every single member of the team believes that.
Yeah.
So every time there's a client interaction, they truly believe, look, we know which clients are not good for us and we're great at saying no, but they truly believe how that sign that you had at the old office, right? The framework. And that's so important. And it's another thing that, if lawyers can solve for that, and it's not just hiring the right people, like you have to have I believe you have to have a philosophy, you have to have a guiding star, and mine is going to be different from yours, it's different from Sally's and different from Susie's, okay? Yeah. That's all cool. But if you don't have that, everything else is just a random act of either hiring or training or marketing or whatever. And that can be fine, but I don't think it's ever going to get beyond fine.
And so, which leads me to the next question, which is, you mentioned virtual, right? Go to a lot of conferences. There's a lot of folks that are have great companies. My colleague, Rob Levine, has his own staffing company that does a wonderful job. And obviously that's a growing part of the business. But what I hear mixed reviews about the success, and the vendor, the one providing the team member, will say, usually it's a cultural fit, it's a training issue, and the new employer treats them like a computer or a toy, right? Like this adjunct person versus a team member. I'd love if you could just take a couple minutes and talk about your experience with virtual employees and how you were able to integrate them successfully, if you were.
So I almost said 100%. So we had one who was doing intake, and she was good for a while, and then we had to let her go. But the new learning that Ben and my son Brian, he's a partner in the law firm, the new learning for us is, how do we delegate better? How do we, if we're no good at training in-house, like we're going to be crappy at training overseas, right?
Right.
And then working with a quality vendor for sure. So we've got a couple quality vendors that we really like. But one of them, their big value add was teaching us, the customer, how to be a better leader of a virtual team member who, we've got, I think 5 or 6 or 7 now in the Philippines who work for us. And we think we're really good now at incorporating that. So they have our swag, we send them books. They're making more money on our economy than they would on theirs. They're working with we think some pretty cool people, right?
Yeah.
And so now, having said all of that, we have pretty good systems in place for monitoring performance. We have dashboards. We have, again, this comes from the business coaching world. That is our investment, because we're not just coaches. We invest in coaching for ourselves and our businesses. So we've got systems that allow us to track and have conversations, and have open and honest conversations with team members and with managers. And look, if anyone's listening to this, it wasn't built overnight. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot the hard way, and we've learned a lot from going to conferences, as you do, and listening to other people and hanging out with people who do this bigger, better, and faster than we do. That's critical.
So on balance, at the end of the day, you'd say I'm pro. If you've got good systems in place, you're pro virtual or what I call remote folks
Oh,
from around the world.
yes, we are pro. We're yeah, we're like, what's the next need? Because I mean, here's the thing, and I hate to say something like it's harder to find great employees in America today because we have great employees. Our American-based employees are great. But ladies and gentlemen, you are competing against a worldwide economy, and you're competing with some people who are really hungry
Yeah,
to learn, hungry to work, who show up, who often have experience working for bigger, better organizations than we are. Like they've run call centers for major airlines or credit card companies, or they've, I was telling you, my
yep,
executive assistant worked for Rob Levine, part of his
yeah,
organization. She obviously got good training there.
yeah.
So we are pro. We are pro. But it's not just like find somebody on Upwork and start there. That's a recipe for disaster. Yes, you have to
Well,
control.
I'm glad that you had a positive experience because it's interesting. I think if you took up and down votes, you get, the data is not universal. Let's put it that way. So it's a credit.
That'd be the same for everything. So Tim, you could have a great marketing tool, a great AI tool, and you got lawyers who are paying attention and learning how to use that tool, and lawyers
Yeah,
in their team, and you have people that are like, no, I paid my money, it should work.
right.
Well, that's going to lead to a bad result many
Yes,
times. So yeah.
particularly with a human. So let's talk about that,
Yes.
right? You mentioned AI. Let's talk about AI for a second. So it seems like you've got a pretty nice construct within the law firm. In other words, the ability to bring in technology or
Oh,
remote
100%.
employees.
Yeah.
So
So
talk
here,
about your experience with AI. I'm an AI guy, and
yes.
so
So,
what have
so
you
first thing,
implemented so far internally, and what's your report on that? Kind of like you look at, remote.
so our report is paid ChatGPT, paid Notebook LM. We're good. Here's the good news. The great news is that as I talk from time to time with lawyers in big law firms, giant law firms,
Yep.
they're still trying to figure out how to unwrap the package. And by that I mean their firms say they're all their sentences with AI begin with we cannot dot dot dot. They're still trying to figure out like the rules.
Right.
We're entrepreneurs. We're
Right.
we're taking reasonable care. We're not paranoid about AI. And every day now there's different, even in my own firm, there's different levels of sort of expertise.
Yep.
My key is this. I think so. For me, what this has worked for me is you learn one or two or three products, and
Yep.
and learn how to use that product and stay up to date with the guys and gals who are talking and creating videos and tips for those products. Because otherwise, you're going to go crazy. Because every week there's a new AI tool out
Yeah.
there, and so get really good at it.
And
So again,
understand what you're trying to accomplish, right? That's the big thing is, again, why?
yes.
Just like, why do I want a virtual or remote employee? Why do I want to use AI in my firm? What am I trying to accomplish? I think that's where people get confused. Um, so let me ask you this: when you started thinking about using AI, was it baby steps, or did you go, we're in, this is it, and what was your
No,
entry point?
so look, I forget like how long has quote AI been around on a commercial use? Is only like 18 or 24 months. It
Yeah,
it, it seems like, and so it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is baby steps. Oh, okay. First thing we do, we get paid versions of things, right? Because boom, and then it's to the point where, my chat GPT agent or whatever you call it, knows me, knows my work, knows more about ERISA long-term disability claims than most lawyers in the country, except those of us who do it on an everyday basis. Like I'll match my AI engine against any lawyer who's not deeply involved in ERISA
yeah,
disability work every single day. And so it's discovering, and then it's going to again, it's going to conferences, and you got some guy or gal on the stage going, and boom, and we tried this, and then you go back and go,
yeah,
wow, that's cool, really cool. Um, you don't want to get sucked into that's really cool. He talked about a different, Grok this
yeah.
week, and I don't even know the names of all these things. Because that can lead, you can go down a lot of rabbit holes here. But if someone's
Yeah,
talking about a product or AI agent, whatever, that you're using, they're probably, if they're on the stage, using it more effectively and efficiently than you are. So now you listen.
right. And I love, so two guys that are pretty dialed in on that. One, you may have seen Justin Lovely speak. He's
Yep.
pretty dialed in. I feel like I've got unfinished business if Justin is listening, still chasing him. Love to talk to him a little bit more about faster outcomes. And Rob, it's funny because Rob Levine is one of those lawyers, like you said, who soon as he gets his arms around the idea, then it's change management and implementation, right? How do I get,
Yeah.
500 people to agree that there's a universal truth? And, he was so funny because as a friend and a client and someone who works with us, he's like, hey, it's not my job to tell everybody in my firm to use faster outcomes. He's like, yes, I'm a partner. Yes, I'm a believer. We have to demonstrate, we have to manage the change, right? In bite-sized pieces so that implementation doesn't become a barrier. They don't look at it as like, well, what I was doing was fine, right? You've got to bring them along with you to understand why. Like, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we can go from 5 hours for a demand to 10 minutes, right? That's why we're doing it. And we get paid on contingency. So we're not worried about billable hours, like helping them understand that piece of it, right? And I assume you must
Then
have gone through that.
yes, but then the challenge is, okay, that's important to the owner. It's important to me, Brian, Rob.
Yeah.
Why is that important to Sally? Because Sally, when she finishes a demand, her reward is she gets another file to work on. And so this is the high level, and I don't know that I have all the answers to this, but this is the high level thinking that those of us who are playing in this entrepreneurial space have to think about, right? Because yes, everything you said is true, but if you got 500 people you're rolling it out to, because we can do this faster, like
Yeah.
what's in it for them? And so that's building, that goes back to the culture that you've developed at the firm, what your compensation schemes are. Um, so
And
we have to
making
do
it
some
easier
deep,
too. So that it
yeah,
was funny because Rob's thing is, well, to your point, he's like, we have to ask, what they're asking with them. Well, what's in it for me? Right? Like you said, I get you want to do this because now we can do 1,000 cases versus 600 for the same amount of money, if not less. But what's the trickle down benefit? And so and I don't want to just use Rob, but lawyers like yourself and Rob in larger firms, what they're mindful of is how does this how does this integrate into existing workflows to make those workflows easier, right? So if you try to jam, hey, we can do this faster and I'm going to get $500 more per demand in profit. So this is what you're going to do. That's not going to work, right? Because if you've got, like you said, 500 people you're trying to convince, it's, well, help me understand how we could use this to make life easier for you. How would that work? Right. And what's interesting, and I'm curious to hear your take on this, Ben. So when we were first talking about deploying our knowledge product, the knowledge, as I mentioned, it's aggregating all your firm's IP into one location and then, crawling all that information. And now you have a brain that you can talk to, the latest clause, the latest update, the latest research, and it's just your firm, right? In your firm, I would call it Ask Ben, right? Because Ben's got 4 decades of
right.
knowledge. And when Ben goes away, the firm's going to take a hit. I don't care what you say, right? There's a lot of um, data around what happens when a big dog leaves. It's irrefutable, right? And so one is the ability to capture all that information. But it was funny because I was talking to this real sharp gal in one of these large law firms, and she's like, "Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we let's upload our workflows and let AI tell us what we need to do?" And it was the first time I had someone, because we do this long analysis of all your business it takes a minute, right? We want to do it right. She's like, well, let's try to do it. Let's reverse engineer this. If AI is so good, let's let AI poke the holes. And the results were incredible. Like, you got to put the workflows in there and all that. But that speaks to a high level of trust in where AI is at. And I'm not sure every human is there, right? I don't know if you'd be ready to say to a bot, hey, how can I do this better? right? How can I get everyone to buy into this? So,
Oh, we say that every day. It doesn't mean the
you?
bot doesn't mean I do everything the bot says, but every single day I ask, how could we do this better? And as you and I were riffing a bit before we went live, yes, like we have built in our firm for our little sliver niche where we're a major player in the East Coast in ERISA long-term disability claims and handle cases across the country. It's like, and here's what we know. Here's what we have written. Here's our brief. There's can be no hallucination
Yeah,
when they're training on our stuff. Here's the
it's a great
arguments
idea.
we've used before. Oh yeah. Here's their brief, here's our brief. Where are we not strong against their brief? What questions is the judge going to ask on oral argument in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals? What do you think based upon this and what you know about us and what you know about ERISA based on our work? Not again, not hallucinating, our work. And that's and so but again, I think I'm in the minority so far. I know
You
I
are.
am because you eliminate all big law lawyers who are still trying to unwrap the package.
Yeah.
Um, but there is a growing body, as the speakers you mentioned, like there's a growing body of work and good lawyers and good consultants who are saying, holy crap. And now here's at the end of the game, for the lawyers, it's like, what are we paid when we are still actively working cases? Like so many of the folks listening to this podcast are going to be the ones who are still actively working cases. They may be the CEO, the founder, right? But we're still doing cases.
Yep.
And what are we paid to do on our client's case? We're paid to put our legal mind and to create a strategy to maximize the outcome of the case or to solve the problem or the opportunity, whatever area of law it is.
Yep.
That's really what we're paid to do. And so the more time, you're exactly right, that we can free up for Ben to think about a strategy for your case that my team will implement. AI might help give us some guides, but the more time we free up Ben's brain for that, the better the client gets, the better the team is because they're not wasting time. We're making more money and we share. Like our team likes coming to work on Monday. We tell
Yeah.
people who come to work for us, the worst thing that's going to happen to you, Tim, is that this is going to be the very best place you ever worked, right? I need to hear from you. We have open
That's awesome.
feedback loops. I won't promise I can say yes to everything, but if I don't know what your issue is,
Yeah.
I can't be working on it. So that's a long rant, but you can see, I get excited about this. And I think part of
I
my
do
mission.
too. It's cool stuff, man. And it's there are a lot of smart lawyers who like I think you hit the nail on the head, and then we'll start to wind down this last segment. You hit the nail on the head, right? You're entrepreneurial,
Yes.
right? So you're not going to get locked into, wait, I'm waiting for the ABA to give an opinion on my street. They'll say, well, they've
We're
done
not waiting.
Virginia. Yeah, but not my street, right?
We're not waiting for anything the ABA does. Trust me.
And then people get locked because I'll be at conferences and giving it, we do CLE talks and stuff, and they'll say, well, I'm waiting for this association, MMJ, AAJ, to tell me. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
they know about as much, they
Zero.
have to protect a lot more than you do, right? Like,
And
let's
the client is expecting
yeah,
that you are going to be using automation and AI. You're going to be using every tool that you have to
Yeah.
maximize whatever the problem is that you're trying to solve for them,
amen to
whether it's
that.
injury or you said family law and
Yeah,
criminal
you
law,
hit the
things
nail
like that.
right on the head. So as we wind down, first of all, what is in your business, right, in terms of marketing and the coaching business, what's the emphasis? What can we expect from you in terms of thinking over the next 6 to 12 months? And if someone's like, you know what, I love listening to this, I want to call this guy. Like, what can people expect from you over the next 6 to 12
I
months?
think there's two things. So me, I'm 60, I'm a little older, I'm 67, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like you've already done this thinking to a certain extent in your life where you exit a company and then you find something else. I'm thinking, I don't know, I gotta have something that I'm going for. It maybe still be in
Yeah.
just practicing in this business and maybe doing something else. So there's that. But that writ large, what great legal marketing really the people that we serve, the law firms we serve that come to us and get the best out of us, guys and gals doing less than $1 million in top line revenue. Like we can help fix this, build this foundation and take you to about 5 million. And then there's other organizations that really have more experience and, better systems for taking it from 5 million to 10 million to 50 to 80 or wherever you want to go. But I'm really good at helping you figure out where do you want to go? Like, what do you want to do with this, baby? Tell me what it is, what it looks like now. What are the friction points? What are the things that are holding you back now? And we go back to the beginning of this podcast, which is I'll help you figure out you have an hour to spend or $1 to spend. Like we don't sell websites, we don't sell services, but I'm going to help you figure out, is faster outcomes right? Great product. Is it right for you now?
Right.
Or do we focus on getting Sally to answer the phone right so we don't lose the leads that are coming in the door, right? And so we're good at that. And we have our
people process and technology
100%
in no particular order. Whichever one's broken, the worst. Start there.
Well, and it's where do you want to go? Like, where do you want to go? Now look at which one needs to be fixed first. And so we've got a big event in October 22 to 25, I think. It's the Great Legal Marketing Summit. And, Jay Berkowitz will be there.
When is that?
It's October 22, 23, 24. If you and your listeners go to glmsummit.com, you'll find information. The reason I'm vague on the dates is our mastermind members come in a day and a half early. And so that's actually the start date for our team. And then Dan Kennedy is coming to speak. And then he's having a private lunch with our mastermind members. And, if you're a fan of marketing, then you know who Dan Kennedy is, the godfather of direct response marketing and a good friend of mine for 20 years as well.
So you have sponsors there, exhibiting opportunities?
They do. You should.
We're going. Tell you right now.
Yes, I will. Offline,
Katie, when we're done, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm officially announcing today to everyone on this podcast. I'll see you there.
There we go. It's a great group because here's the thing about our event. Here's why vendor sponsors like our event is that it's not huge, but it's filled with owners who can make decisions, right? And so God bless them, but some of these events, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 people, like it's real. I talk to the vendors, they're like, man, nobody ever comes over to talk to me, and none of them are owners. Like we have owners. we have mom and pop running law firms that are trying to get better so that they can be happier, serve their clients, and create for their own selves a great place that attracts talent to come work for them.
Got it. So we will see you there, and congratulations. Awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time today. This was a lot more fun than I thought we were going to have, and I usually have a lot of fun. So that tells you how I feel about this. How do people get? I know that's where to go for the event, but if people just want to get in touch with you and say, you know what, this is a cool guy, I want to talk to him. And
I got two things. So LinkedIn, I'm big on LinkedIn, post a lot there. So it's Ben Glass or Benjamin Glass. But I also have this program I run called lunchwithben.com. And if you go to that URL, you can see the terms and conditions, which mainly is a sandwich or a salad is going to show up at my desk, and you and I will riff for an hour or so. We'll have lunch together, but you're going to send me the lunch and lunch with Ben. And so there's a certain number of days each month that's allocated. And some people think I'm crazy for doing that. But Tim, I'll tell you, I talk to people, not just lawyers. And in fact, it's not usually lawyers. It's everything from students who are figuring out what to do the rest of their lives to doctors who've retired to moms and dads who want to talk about how to raise great kids. I'm crazy for giving that URL, but it's really fun. I talk to interesting people that I otherwise would not have met. Like you.
Yeah. It's
and Katie. Well,
it's been great. And my instincts tell me you and I are going to be, first of all, we'll see you at the show. But it's funny, the more time I spend in personal injury, the smaller the universe gets, and you start to see who the people are who are moving the needle and shaping the universe and the influence. And I'm just grateful to be around folks like yourself and folks like Rob. I'd love to meet your son someday, virtually or otherwise, and just talk about life, AI, and whatever else. So I appreciate Ben Glass, who's amazing today. Really grateful for you coming on the show. Really, as always, I appreciate our listeners. Can't wait to get this publishing out into the marketplace. Anybody interested in learning more about Faster Outcomes, you can visit us at fasteroutcomes.com. Faster Outcomes is the ultimate legal intelligence platform for law firms of all shapes and sizes. Appreciate you joining us today. Wish everybody a great week, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye bye now.